back. Welcome back to the Weekly Roundup, the place where we unpack what's been going on in the yoga and wellness world and what we have been coaching our clients through. I'm Carol. I'm here with Josh,
Yo,
and we are kicking it off with bookkeeping.
yay. The most exciting subject in business. Fucking
I love
bookkeeping.
it. I love it. I
I
reconcile my accounts every month. I'm that crazy person down to the penny. Just
love
that's
it.
the way I'm wired. And I actually, if you don't know out there in yeah, in land of digital, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Digital
Digital
land.
land. As this like little side project, I actually do bookkeeping for other people in completely different industries outside of what we do. It's not even associated with Artha. And what's funny is the person I work for is it's when we work with studios and businesses here with Artha, we're oftentimes like, do you have your P&L? What are your last 12 months of gross sales? Like, what were your expenses? And they're like, well, I don't know. I'm waiting on my bookkeeper. And I look for a bookkeeper, and on the other side, I'm like, we are behind by 3 months with this client. Like, it's so funny because it just seems like that is the very typical assumption is that your bookkeeper is going to be behind and you might not have clarity on your numbers for a few months because you're waiting on your bookkeeper. Now, as a business owner myself, because I'm that crazy person that reconciles every month, like I did my own books and I had that information, but there are so many clients of ours with Artha that don't. And I think it's really interesting to
Yeah.
look at it from both sides. And yeah, Josh, you had some thoughts about that, which were interesting. We were talking about it before we came on.
This is not what we talked about before we jumped on, but you just prompted for me, Carol, is like where this really comes up hard is in a sale. And I've seen it, I don't even know how many times, where someone suddenly wants to sell or exit their business. Or I've even been involved in the purchase of a couple businesses where like the books are such a fucking mess and the owner is like scared of showing them. They're like, I don't know. I can't read someone's mind, but my take on it is the truth is they're embarrassed about the mess of the books. Um, so they like can't even present something and like it literally fucking blows up the sale in both cases, whether it's selling or the buying of it, because you can't see anything. There's no handle on it. Or in one scenario in particular, and to this day, I can't believe it went through. I was involved with a friend buying, it was a three location wellness business. And we went through the negotiation and then I kind of stepped out of it, felt like I had played my coaching role or whatever with it. And he ended up buying the business for 50% of their ask. Like he cut their price in half, and in the end, it came down to bookkeeping. Like had they have had their books really tight and really their numbers really clean and proper business personal separation, whatever, their price would have still been high, but they wouldn't have got that big of a haircut. It
Wow.
was it was wild. So
Yeah.
also clearly they wanted out because they were willing to take half, but that would have had that's a big impact.
Well, in our going through our sale, we had the numbers so that we knew enough about our business to say we want to get it to here before we sell it. Like it was just
Yeah.
you have to know that in that process. And luckily, we didn't have to do a lot of cleaning up of the books because I had been doing it for so long. But yeah, I mean, it was very easy to say because we had a broker and he's like, what are these numbers and these numbers? And it's like very clear. There's no question. Everything can be traced through the bank accounts. Like it was actually, yeah, that I didn't think about it in those terms, but that made the sale really easy and straightforward. So if you don't have that going, let's get it together.
Well, and usually we'd say, and any of the brokers that we've worked with would say the same thing, I'm pretty sure, that you want to have, like, if I'm going to buy your business, I'm going to ask for 2 years of books. I might ask for three, but two is reasonable. One is absurd. So 2 to 3 years of books. and they have to make sense. I need a balance sheet. I need like some basic KPIs. I definitely need a really tight P&L. And it doesn't matter what explanation you give me. What your books say is going to be the truth that I'm basing a lot of my decisions off of because it's the only thing, like a tax form is the only thing that I can say you can't fake this part kind of thing. So and sales are messy sometimes, so that's not always, the whole story. But the point would just be if you're planning to sell, like you would want to have your books arranged. You might even actually change details of how you do your accounting 2 years in advance in preparation for a sale. It's like I'm going to get to the business to here. We want it to look like this on paper, whatever, whatever. And if you do that, the times that I have been involved where I've seen that, sales tend to happen like pretty easily because there's no major friction thing. Uh, that was the sale of my last studio. Was like we got 4 offers. We took the best one, and it was also the people we wanted to sell it to. There wasn't really anything to negotiate on. I'm like, here's the full package. They signed the
Hmm.
NDA and a non-compete. Here you go. They came back with a number. That's it. That was the end of the story. Versus 6 months of back and forth, whatever. Um, I was gonna say your sale, I know, wasn't this case, Carol, because of what you're saying, but there's this other problem that happens when you have a business and an exit on the owner side. You go to sell your business, you put it up for sale, you have someone who's interested, and then this stuff is a mess. So now there's all this other work to do.
Hmm.
And it's like you don't have the juice to do it. So then you put all your steam into trying to get it in order. Then it implodes. The person doesn't buy it, but you've already got a foot out the door. And energetically you're fucked. I've seen that quite a few times, and it's tough. Like sometimes that's the moment someone comes to us too for coaching because they're like, now what? And they have to reformulate a whole vision. Like energetically, that's really tough. And half of that I think's avoided if you just have your books real straight.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't imagine trying to clean all that up and yeah, totally. Once you've decided you're ready to go, if the sale implodes, like, ugh, you just kind of feel stuck, I would assume. So
It's hard to reel that back. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The other note I had was just, what's interesting in bookkeeping and accounting, um, I guess banking too, for whatever reason, simultaneously, it's normal to hear someone be like, "Oh yeah, I got a great bookkeeper. I got this person. They're really whatever. I've been with them forever. I'll see if they're taking any more people." And it's equally as likely that you have someone that are like, "I don't know, my bookkeeper's shit, but I've still been with him for 10 years." Like both of these things are equally possible to hear.
I was working with a client and they had two different locations and two different bookkeepers. And
Hmm.
they were very unhappy with one for many reasons, and they were also getting charged like triple what the other person was. And I'm like, why are you staying with this bookkeeper? Like,
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
very simple. And you have somebody else that could do it.
You already
And
have the other
like,
one.
I don't understand. It was just like we do get stuck in these, I don't know, situations where we think it's a big deal, but I don't think that when you see the numbers being like I'm paying 3 times as much for shitty work, like why wouldn't you make that decision? Like that is a business decision. It's very straightforward and I think very easy, but I don't know. I don't know what people.
I think people don't look at it. Like they just actually don't look at it at all, and that's how you end up there. You
But once
know,
you know, like once you know the truth,
yeah,
I,
yeah. I mean, there's the old awareness is the first step. As soon as you're aware of something, you regain choice and autonomy. So like if you know,
choosing
then
not to do anything, that is still a choice.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I think the two things that come up for me in this conversation is one, are you it's like having an employee. Like I know a bookkeeper is not an employee necessarily, but how do you make your bookkeeper or your accountant good? Like you have to get all your shit to them on time. You have to record everything properly. You have to collect all the data and put it in the spots properly. Like whatever. Or you have to have someone who's either fucking superhuman and you've lucked out, or you're paying like these bookkeepers will just handle your shit. That's why big companies internalize their bookkeeping. But then you're gonna pay for it. And it's which is fine. I mean, it doesn't matter how you do it, but like you got to solve this somehow. Anyways, I just think about the like when you were saying, "Oh, this company is 3 months behind." Like we're 3 months behind because they haven't given us any of their shit.
Mhm.
And then we come in on coaching and we're like, "Cool. Like, so what's your P&L for Q1 this year?" And it's May, and they're like, "I don't know. I don't know. What's that? I don't look at a P&L." We're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, so what's happening in your business?" Do you have a bookkeeper? Yes. Cool. So like can we get a P&L from that? How are they sending it to you every month? Well, no. You've got nothing year to date. Like it's not uncommon for us to see that. They're 4, 5, 6 months in. They're like, well, I don't have anything for my bookkeeper. Like,
Yeah.
aren't you paying them monthly? What are they doing?
Right. Like by October, we'll get last year's shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
2025 is finally done. On the
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah.
But I guess it's the radical responsibility part. It's like, are you actually giving your bookkeeper all the shit they
That's
need?
part of it. I mean, what I do, we do a lot of just pulling the Web Connect files and get a lot of the information from their bank accounts itself. So,
Hmm.
if you have somebody like that, that's on them then. That's the
Yeah.
bookkeeper's company that should be on top of that. Where that's what I'm saying. Like, just doesn't seem like that's always, and there are reasons for it. Sometimes passwords change or there's something that, and there's a breakdown in the connection that we have to like go search, and that's a pain in the butt. So, um, but yeah, overall, you know, maybe 6 weeks behind, I guess. Like for now, I should be getting April finished. But if I'm still looking at February, like there's a problem.
Yeah.
Something off.
Yeah.
So
I think the other piece that we talked about before that this highlights to me is how like this is gonna sound assholey, maybe piss somebody off, I don't know. But like how common it is we hear concern about competition and concern about the market and concern about these external forces and how that employees, whatever, and how that impacts a business. And it's very easy for that to veer into this victimhood and this victim mentality. But that same person doesn't fucking know their own P&L. They don't know what's happening in their business. They're not doing KPIs. They don't know about their client flow. They don't have, so it's like it's not about them doing or not doing something. Like I'm sure there's some tasks they're doing, but like they literally are flying blind
mhm,
and then complaining that business is down because a macro number is up or down. And they're like, I don't know what to do.
mhm.
In our Artha framework, it's like step one is if you don't know, you measure. You're like, I don't know what's happening. Step one is measure. You got to measure something. What you do about it, that's step two. But or like learning what to do about it. The educate step is the first step. But it's so interesting and so I don't know, egotistical maybe to be like,
It's like you don't know what you don't know. So if
yeah,
you don't know you should be looking at this stuff, then what everyone comes to us for, not everyone, but a lot of people, they're like, we just need more people to come in. That's what they always sort of, the
yeah,
first assumption is, I just need more people to come in. But, when you really understand the full picture, it's like then you can actually zero in on the actual problem and then find the solution. So yeah, measuring is key first. Yeah. And it goes back to people like not running this like a business. They run it out of like I don't know, just general care and I want to do these things and like serve and that's great, but it is a business. So, um, I don't know.
You know, it's true. And as soon as I say this, you guys have all heard us say this a lot. As soon as I say this, people are like, "Yeah." Like I've never had the reaction be like, "No, that's some bullshit." Like your business is your vehicle. It's one, you're not your business, and two, it's your vehicle. It's how you're distributing the help, the service. It's how you're making the impact. It's how. And so, sticking with the analogy, just like your vehicle, it's like if you got a fucking flat tire, can you drive somewhere? I mean, technically, yes, but you're wrecking shit while you do it and you're going real slow and it's not comfortable, like just you have to maintain your vehicle uh, and upgrade your vehicle and get someone else to drive your vehicle. Like we could make all sorts of analogy, but it's like taking the business seriously to me the psychological change that we see owners go through. Like anyone who's in our leaders group and our leaders mastermind, these are businesses that are doing seven figures plus in single location businesses, and they've been in the game for a minute, and like they're crushing it. If we look at like what are some of the things they have in common? Some of the things they have in common, one of them is they fucking have completely reconciled that this is a business and that if their business does well, then their impact is high. Period. There's none of them that are like just kind of, well, it's just a passion project to help someone out. And I don't care about the money. As soon as I hear someone get on a call with us in a momentum call, one of our free calls, and be like, to me, it's not about the money. At this point in my career, I have to challenge it immediately. I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't. Be like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Because at some
Anyways,
point it's going to be about the money. Like it might not be like today, but we've seen it enough.
what you know who says it's not about the money? The people who say it's not about the money are the people who don't have a money problem. They're either
That
like
isn't a problem. Yeah.
they're either in that beta region paradox, right? Where it's like it's not so bad that you have to do something, it's not so good that you're winning, you kind of can just float. Or they're like somehow wealthy in some other way where and that scenario actually implodes faster.
I was going
It,
to
it's
say, I feel
very
like, yeah, I've had owners that I've worked with in that place, and it still comes down to it. They're still pissed if the business isn't
absolutely.
making money, like what am I doing this for? Like it ultimately ends, I think, in that place. So
Even non-operators. I know a couple people who are not fully operational in the business. They've built it and they are the financial backing of it and they do strategy maybe. They're kind of like highest level on the board or whatever. And it's because they've done something like one person, he exited a business for a really like pretty good chunk of change and then sort of started this other it's like a life coaching retreat nervous system business thing. And it's really cool what they do. And he's run the thing at a deficit for like 2 or 3 years. And now's the moment where he's just like, the fuck are we doing? Like he's not even doing it. Like he's not even, doesn't even have the stress of operating on the daily. But
mhm.
he's like, I'm just lighting money on fire. And we're like, well, yeah. So it's, yeah, anyone who says, whatever, I
I
digress.
kind of see those people as like, they've somebody in that situation, they've already like sold something and like made a nice, now it's something that they do maybe want to have passion about and share. But like the making money part is actually kind of fun, I think, in a way to
Yes.
them. Like that sort of like gets that, and not in like a negative way. It's just like this is successful because I can make money at it. And I don't know. That's sort of maybe yeah, where you kind of lose steam just because that's part of the fun of it is like, oh, this is actually like profitable and doing something. So,
Yeah.
mm,
Well, and to that point, like if something is truly just passion and just help and there's nothing more to it, that's volunteer work.
mhm.
And that's we need that. That's great. I do that. Like there's some, some young kids here. There kind of isn't like a lot of role model for especially young men in this town that I'm in. Young women too, but there are for young women a bit more, but there's not really a lot of like super positive role model for boys aged, 13 to 16-ish kind of thing. And so one of the things is we've got this basketball. We finally like this basketball game that we play once a week, that we convinced the school to let us rent the court because it's kind of like whatever. They've given us the key to be able to go in and play. And then the second piece of the puzzle is, and this is a spin-off of that, is like volunteer work with it. Like we've got to mow the lawn of the school and repair the rims and stuff. Or then I had to like dig a trench in my yard and I got a few of them together. And they're like learning the skills of the tools and how to do this thing and whatever else. And then also how to complain about it and have a man who's not their dad or someone else be like, I don't give a fuck, shut up and do it. Like, but that's to me, like that's volunteer work. I'm not going to take any pay for that, even if someone wanted to pay me. There's not, could you build a business out of that? Like, I guess so, but no, that's not what it is. To me, there's a very clear line where if it's really just truly passion in helping people, then actually I think it should not be formulated as a business per se, if that's the only piece of the puzzle. If you're building your life, because that's the thing that people don't say out loud, you're building your life around this and you are going to need support in your life and you want to do something with purpose, that's a business. That's a really good business, actually.
I'm just sort of like the word that keeps coming up is like it becoming an obligation
Hmm.
versus like it's fun in the beginning, you have a lot of passion, but there's at some point if it's not if the business isn't running like a business, if it doesn't have processes, if it doesn't have support, then the obligation piece starts to come in and then it doesn't, that's when you really tank. Um,
Well, we in Artha we talk about there's like three components. There's a Venn diagram we have actually that shows this. On at the center is what we call like the devoted entrepreneur. But if you're missing one of the three elements, the three elements being like healthy business or business growth, freedom is the way we define it, and then ethical impact. So it's like you have a positive impact, but how you're creating it also matters. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so if those are in balance, then that's the devoted entrepreneur. And I've never seen a scenario where these three things are in balance, where someone isn't like very powerful, pretty fucking happy, whatever. If you're missing one, then you become like an anti-hero. And so one of the most common ones that you're sort of leading towards, Carol, that we talk about is the silent martyr. The silent martyr is the obligation one. It's where you're like working really hard and maybe even having some business success and maybe even having positive impact, and that's the thing that keeps you going, but you have no freedom. Now look at freedom as not just time, but personal autonomy, control, which means wealth, finance. Like if you can't pay the bills, you're not free. If you're super stressed about making your mortgage payment, you're not free. If you can't ever take a vacation because you can't afford it, you're not free. And so that's the whole like building your own life part of it too. And the weird thing with the silent martyr, silent because it doesn't get, it's like this resentment starts building up and it never gets said out loud. That comes from that obligation of like, well, I chose this and I signed up and there's all these people that work for me and the business is helping them and whatever else and I'm doing this impact for these people and blah 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 and I'll just keep martyring myself and the end result is contempt, but it's bitterness. Like owners that have been in that for too long, you end up fucking bitter. And I get it. Like I've actually been there. You just hate the thing that you used to love.
Yeah.
Sucks. I feel bad for people who are there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can escape it. If you're like, uh-oh, I relate to this, and like you can get out of it actually pretty quick. But I'll tell you how you don't get out of it. You don't get out of it by this woo-woo shit that people talk about. It'd be like, just be positive and just accept the whatever and just, you've got to remind yourself and have gratitude for the blah, blah, blah. Fuck that, dude. Like, that's all true, but fuck that is the solution. The solution is no, start getting yourself paid and gain back freedom and maintain the other things. Basically, make your business serious for yourself, and I guarantee you get out of it. Like, you'll start to have some gratitude then real fast.
Yeah. And oftentimes that starts with looking at the thing you don't want to look at.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah,
been ignoring your books, you've been ignoring your KPIs, you've been ignoring
yeah.
because I just don't like it. It doesn't feel good to me. That's not my jam. It's not where like my, you
I'm
know,
not good with
I'm not
numbers.
good with numbers. Well, either get good at it or find somebody that is to help you or have them look at it for you because that's where your direction is going to come from, is knowing that stuff.
Well, the whole not good at numbers thing too, I think it comes up for me is like maybe you're not. Like that's not your forte. Okay. That who cares? Like, and it's easy for us to sit here and be like, you got to get good at it. Like whatever you don't understand in your business, that's the thing you can be taken advantage of around. Talking of bookkeeping and accounting, like the number one place that crime, that stealing of finances happens in business, hands down, no question, by 1,000,000%, is fucking, it's the bookkeeper. Always. She's writing weird checks and shit. Even, yeah, whatever. Anyways, I digress. The point would just be you don't have to get that good at it. You just have to get nerdy about it and curious. Like when we say understand something, I think what you need to do is just be willing to look at it. And then if you don't know what something is, be like, well, what the fuck is this? Like literally, that's it. And then there'll be another question that'll come up from that. Well, okay, then what does that mean? And what does this mean? It's just until you understand it and whatever that takes to do that.
Well, it leads into, well, first of all, I'm laughing because I know I've told this story on the roundup before, but our very first accountant was a college friend of my business partner. And for a couple years we used him but it wasn't his, real forte. So we dropped him and got somebody else. But a few years later, he was arrested for embezzling money from another company, like over $2 million. Like, oh, yes. So, yes, that all is to say, direct correlation. Like, I
Yeah.
know somebody that literally went to jail for that. It's crazy. But that
Sorry,
is
I gotta, Carol, I
okay.
gotta add to it. This was my father-in-law, his business too, had not millions, but like definitely tens, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars over a period of time stolen from them from the bookkeeper. There was an internal bookkeeper that worked in
Yeah.
his home office with them. And despite paper trail and everything, like the worst part is because the bookkeeper had authority over money movement and manipulation in the business, the legal recourse is very hard. Like I'm pretty sure they got very little, if anything, back at all, and the person got basically no real,
Wow.
like you can't even get them. And all because it was the perfect example of just never looking at the books,
Mhm.
never really questioning whatever. And obviously someone being an asshole, but
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So find
bad.
somebody ethical. Um, but yeah, going back to what you're saying before is like getting nerdy about it. Like I've gotten really nerdy recently with a couple of my clients and like we have all their KPIs. We have years worth of data and there's something that's not clicking. Like I can look at their KPIs now and say like, why is this not correlating? Like there's something off here. Like, and we need to drill down deeper into that problem. So like it really is important to have some kind of, I don't know, just something down and measure it over and over and over again because you can really find, I mean, we say this anyway, you'll find what you need to focus on looking at these KPIs, but I've really done with a couple of clients recently, like the KPIs weren't even making sense. So
Mm.
sometimes there's a way that your setup in your CRM is kind of janky, and that's the problem. And like we have to maybe look at a different report so we can find the actual number. So I think that's really where I think the I'm not good at numbers comes in, is that the reporting systems in so many of these CRMs
Yeah.
is confusing, overwhelming. It doesn't make sense, especially if you're only doing it once a month. If you're doing this over and over daily, then it starts to really click, I think. But a lot of times that's where the what I hear from my clients, like I'm just not good at this, or I'm really frustrated, is because of the software and the reporting systems that they have. So,
The the incongruency across them and the semantics of what one thing is named in one system or another and linking them together, like these things are frustrating in business and whatever. What are you going to do about it? Like this is what it is. I think about I'm have a bunch of projects at every point in time in the house here and like building stuff or whatever. And I'm rebuilding an EV like side by side like razor thing. I don't know. UTV, that's the whatever. It's an electric one. So I'm rebuilding it and changing the electrical system and switching it to lithium. It's been a very interesting learning process and fucking a lot more work than I thought it was. I'm like, just change some batteries. Nope, way more to it. But the simple aspect of metric versus imperial sizing for nuts and bolts.
ooh,
What the fuck, dude? And then I'll suddenly like, oh, we're gonna use this torqued bolt shape. Like no one ever was like, or there's different thread. I'm holding an if you're on camera, I'm holding a screw right now. And it's like there's different thread patterns. There's imperial and metric, and then different thread like widths. And there's a reason for all of it, of course. But it's so non-standard that on the same project attaching six things. You need a whole tool set to fucking it drives me nuts. That's CRMs in
yes,
business.
yes,
Like,
100%.
well, and this one this, but this one that, and this wording here means this there,
hmm
whatever, and we get so hung up on it. Yeah, so I get it. It's frustrating, but kind of too bad a little bit. The taking us back to, we sort of started it a moment ago, but the bar is so fucking low. And so worrying about competition and whatever else, you want to beat the competition, you want to beat the market, like this is the shit to do. It's just it's one of the pieces of the puzzle. If I don't know actually what's going on in the numbers in my business, and Carol does know what's going on in your business at depth, and you're using that to inform your decisions to drive a specific outcome that you're trying to achieve, and I'm just fucking trying some shit, I might get lucky and I might beat you out. But over a 10-year timeline, I don't think so. You win. That's how you win in the market is you're working on the right thing and making progress over time. One of the pieces, I think the core piece in the beginning of that puzzle is like, well, like once you're operating, of course, what should you be working on? And why? And how do you know if it's working? Well, you'd need to know your numbers. Have you been in the same place in revenue as the ultimate KPI? Like, oh, I've been making the same amount of money for 3 years in a row, or 4 years in a row, or five. We've had fucking 5, 6, 7, 10 years in a row. Okay, that's not necessarily terrible, but with inflation, that means you're actually making less. The immediate next question is, how come? Like,
Mhm.
what else is not happening or is happening, or where are you succeeding or where are you not? And if you can't prove that in a number sense, then like in a real objective way, that's stopping you. I'm very sure you're busy doing work, but half of it's probably working on shit that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
That sounds a bit harsh, but we just see it a lot. And we do it. I've done it doing my own business all the time.
Totally.
Then I catch myself and be like, God damn.
It's
Oh
really
my
easy to
gosh.
be busy. Yeah.
The thing that this brings up for me, accounting and not, yeah, accounting, but bookkeeping especially, I think one of it's about to get, it already is, but it's about to get even more disrupted by AI. And it's a good example of this literacy gap. In our last summit last year, we talked a little bit about AI and we talked about the literacy gap and how it's widening very quickly. And I can say we're now 6 months out and 6 months towards our next summit, which early bird's still on, I think, right now. So,
Yep.
yo,
The end
get
of
your
May.
spot.
Mhm.
We hard cap this thing. It's full because you get a lot of personalized attention. We have some really interesting conversations. Anyways, the literacy gap from 6 months ago, when I see now what's possible, like you can do shit now that 6 months ago it wasn't even on my radar of possibility. And I'm not even at the cutting edge of this shit by any means whatsoever. And I'm still having the conversation with people from 6 months ago about like, I don't know about using this to write a whatever. And so it's just getting so big. Anyways, bookkeeping is a good example of this where the positive thing with AI conceptually as a foundational level shift in how we operate is it reframes value and it changes not expectations, but but yeah, I guess it changes expectations would be the simple way to say it, where there's a lot less excuses. So bookkeeping would be one. There's like five AI apps I can think of right now, slash you could build something, and I'm sure there'll be better ones coming for bookkeeping that I don't know if I would trust it to do all your bookkeeping for you completely because you have to be very organized. But if we're talking about like, and since forever platforms have had this, take a photo of your receipt and then upload the receipt. Even I'm too lazy about that because like you take the photo of the receipt, but now I have to open the app that it goes in, upload it, categorize it, whatever, or I have to go do that work later, and that's the part that I don't do. That's the part that disappears. That's what like you train your AI piece in the apps that do this. And it's like you literally just fucking take the photo of the receipt, and one of them even you leave a voice note. You're like, "Oh, this is for this, and I bought this," and it does all the rest. Now, someone's got to look it over, of course, make sure that it's whatever, but like it cuts the annoying part down by 80%. So if that's how you can operate, and then business B is on average, like you were saying, 3 months behind on even getting any numbers to a bookkeeper that's overcharging them and not producing anything and giving them a shitty result. Like, man, seems like one scenario seems easy and kind of like makes business enjoyable and less stressful, and the other sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of sucky ones out there, I guess. Well, I don't know if we want to spin to this, but you were even saying before we got on that there were like the potential, like the differentiation between the people who are kind of even sort of using AI a little bit, like, and sort of like dipping a toe in, like AI is just like exponentially growing. So like if you're not even
Yeah.
dipping a toe in at this point, it's just you're totally going to be outpaced. I don't even know how you catch up. It's like somebody getting an iPhone that never even had a Nokia or whatever back in the day. Like you
Hmm.
just went from nothing to like an iPhone. So you don't even know how to use it. And that you were saying that you could potentially like at some point even have AI build your own CRM and things like that. Like I I just feel like there are owners right now that wouldn't even know how to begin, even if they
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the right prompting. You have to, well, it goes back to like, how do you want, like, what kind of reports do you even want in your CRM? Like, you'd have to know that level in order to create something that would be useful to you. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it feels like,
No, you're right. You're right. I know. No, I think you're going in exactly the right direction. This is the curiosity piece. This ties to the bookkeeping and the numbers and am I good at it part. It's like the solution to so much in business, probably in life too, definitely if you look at like neuropsychology, etc., is curiosity. It's approaching things with curiosity. And so you have to like to leverage AI to its fullest potential today, which is not different than it's been, but and for the short-term future, I think this will remain to be true. It's just approaching it from a place of like, well, what is possible? Like, how could I do this? Or what would this look like if it was easier? Or what would actually be helpful? It's like knowing that you're trying to create something and engineering that, as opposed to this is a better Google search, or I like just want to give it something to like write me an email. Like that stuff's fine too, but that's not even level one. It's approaching it from the idea that this is a tool to help you build where it's like a co-pilot in your building of things and iterating so you can iterate faster, including sinking an hour into doing something and then abandoning it because you wouldn't have been able to sync the hour. Like it would have taken you a week before, and now you can fuck around with something and be like, nope, this is out. But reporting, I digress. Reporting is a good example of this, where in current CRMs, like if I was looking for a CRM for yoga studio, or this has come up recently in especially in the therapy world, CRMs are really even more frustrating actually because they have compliance that they have to be part of, and that makes things really tricky. And so, whatever, I would look for the ability in reporting to export stuff to CSV. If you can't export a report, it's like all the data's there. You're feeding all your data into the CRM, but now you can't get it back out. That totally screws you now. And part of how it totally screws you is that then you can't use that to manipulate it. And that used to mean you had to get really smart with spreadsheets. You had to understand either Google Sheets or Excel really well, or if you were even smarter, you would start using uh, I forget the name of it. It doesn't matter. Like there's a super spreadsheet thing that we use or whatever. But now systems that like kind of weren't that great before. I've got a couple clients I'm working with where I'd be like, this isn't the system I'd recommend, but we can export all of the reports. And then their team has, we went through the effort to get clarity. Like on this report, when it says this word and gives this number, what exactly does that mean? Now that we have that information, we can export 4 or 5 reports, run it through an AI, prompt it to consolidate them and ask questions about it and create a report off of it. And that takes less time than pulling a full KPI report manually in another system that has better reporting and tagging and the ability to like pull a full report. So systems that like previously were shit reporting are now like kind of okay because of this would be a simple example. I want to tie this back to bookkeeping too. If you want to know with bookkeeping and AI, you want to know where to start. I'm going to assume you're using QuickBooks. Export your last year stuff from QuickBooks, the whole thing. It's a big export. Every transaction, everything, all of it. You have to be comfortable doing this. Feed it into an AI that has a context window that can handle that much data, and just say, what can we learn from this? Give me everything in detail and watch what it fucking spits out. And if you don't know all of the stuff that it gives you immediately, and you won't, like It'll be wild. It's a wild thought, especially if you're using, if you're asking, if you're thinking about where to do that, I would do it in Claude. If I was doing it myself. I'd probably do it in Claude Cowork. It's a little more jumping us ahead, but yeah, like here's here's the books on this business. What do you think? Like that's a shit prompt. That's a shit prompt,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
something will shake
It's
out that'll
still,
be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
for sure.
There's some curiosity for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I, I was boxing this morning, Carol, and the guy I box with, Sarat, he and I were talking about boxing. And for those of you who know boxing, one of the terms is the sweet science. To me, that's what we call it. That's what it's called, like kind of internally in boxing. And to me, watching boxing now, which I was never into before, it's watching a chess match, especially at an elite level where it's like, yeah, there's a fitness strength component or whatever, but like that equals out at a certain level if people are paired correctly. So then it really is playing chess. And that's the part that I find so fascinating about it. I really like it. And so now in all sports, hockey playoffs are on right now too. And I'm like not super nerdy into sports, but stick and puck, I'll still watch a little bit. For years, there's been all these analysts collecting data on stuff and looking at this and whatever else. And there's the whole movie with Brad Pitt, Moneyball, whatever. That's where AI is going now, next. And so, sticking it to boxing, what we were talking about is like now, if you're going to train for a fight, you would get the last 20 fights from your opponent and feed it through and like you would learn in detail everything about the opponent you're fighting and how they move and their timing and how often they do this or the other thing or whatever, and get all that aggregated data. And you would also get it from a non-emotional source. It's not like a boxing coach's opinion. Ah, they do this, but they're shitty at that. Like, no, it would just give you like when this guy throws this like this every time, or this is number one combo, or he always starts a fight like that. It's gonna fundamentally change the way we do everything. But data, bookkeeping is a good example of like where this stuff is going to change because now you can process all of this and we couldn't before, or it was very hard to do before.
I have nothing to say except that when you said that about boxing, I was like, this is so stupid. How wrestling is like a soap opera, which is sort of like, how do we use AI for wrestling? I'm like, you
Yeah,
AI write you a new soap opera, a new I don't know, like what am I trying to say?
absolutely.
Because
It's
both the villain
gonna
and
script
the
the whole
hero,
show.
exactly, scripting, that was the word. Thank you.
Yeah. You're
Um,
right. It's totally gonna WWE wrestling. It's totally gonna script it up. It's totally gonna script it up. You know, and there are human elements to this that will have to still be part of this. The superpower right now that we've been talking about as a result is discernment and critical thinking. Those are the two superpowers. You could say EQ, like emotional connection and personal emotional maturity. I think we're going to be surprised how much, like, actually how much AI impacts that. Already it is. I mean, people under the age of 30, I've read some stat now, it's like of the people who would answer yes on the questionnaire that they see a therapist, 60% of them use AI for therapy.
whoa.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's
Uh-oh.
It's it's wild. And so is that good? Is that bad? I don't actually know. I'm not sure I have a fully formed opinion on it. I don't think I know the details enough. I can see both sides of it.
We may not have enough data to say whether
We don't have
that's
enough data to say anything. Yeah. I mean, We got lawsuits over suicides from AI girlfriends and shit. Like, this is some weird shit going down. But I don't know where it's going with this. It's all
AI
that
is
is
fundamentally
gonna be part of this.
changing everything that we're
Yeah,
touching at this point. Yeah.
yeah. I want to go back to one of the things you were saying. So just recently, this came up that in the story time of this, you mentioned the iPhone, and it's actually the perfect example where who won the internet?
Who won?
Yeah. Who owns the internet? That's the other
I mean,
question.
feels like Google.
It feels
I
like Google. I
But
mean,
like
I
to me, because
kind
I
of.
was back in the day where there were lots of different search engines when I first started like my IT job. And Google seriously rose to the top. I don't use Yahoo. I don't use any of those other, or like Ask Jeeves. Do you remember that one?
Ask
Do
Jeeves.
you remember?
I do.
Wasn't it? Something like that.
Oh my
They did not
gosh.
win the internet.
Right.
Um,
So I would agree. I think Google's kind of won the internet as much as like now it's changed a little bit. But
mhm.
where does the internet live? In a bunch of fucking servers somewhere? Like
Somewhere.
of which the biggest in the world are AWS, that's Amazon. Tangent, that's why this Iranian war, like that's a huge component. This is the first time ever that civilian infrastructure was hit deliberately, but it's because they hit AWS servers. That's smart strategy. That fucks a lot of things real fast. And I digress. Let's not talk about that stuff. But the internet fundamentally shifted how we do everything. But the product and the money and the companies that won aren't the internet. It's Apple. It's Google. Google is the best search engine. It figured out how to leverage the fact that the internet is foundationally the shift. The iPhone fundamentally changed humanity. Now, it's not just the iPhone, but it is the first real smartphone and a certain quality and whatever. And now everyone on the planet, even in the most rural, most insane, most middle of nowhere places, someone's got a fucking smartphone. They have a computer that would put a computer in 1998 to shame in their pocket. That's who won. Like in terms of like business, money, whatever. So then from that context, this is just to say that it's hard for us to see like this AI thing. So much of the conversation is Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, this. It's the wrong conversation. That'll all consolidate a bit. There'll definitely be some, like there'll be a Google of AI-ish or something like that. But it's not like there's Google's not the only one. There's also other, iPhone's not, there'll be whatever. But there's something else coming that's the iPhone. That's what we can't see yet. I have no idea what that is. But what's interesting about this to me is that in this moment, I think the next phase that we're seeing with agentic AI is the realization that, like, what does the iPhone let you do? Because it lets you make a phone call, but that's like its least important feature.
And who wants to get a phone call anyway at this
Who the
point?
fuck answers the phone?
I don't answer
Right. Right.
that.
You want to talk about fundamental shift. Think
Yeah,
about like
this is called
how,
an iPhone and we don't use it as a phone.
yes, and think about like how much of a breakthrough it was to be able to make a phone call across the ocean. Like
Yeah.
that was a huge shift just in communication publicly. And so now then you get the iPhone, and the result of the iPhone is phoning is irrelevant. It's
So
killed. The
true.
iPhone killed phones. But it's like, what does it actually do? It lets you create or experience or access knowledge. It lets you create reality. It becomes a co-pilot for your life. Like if you think about just the fact you use your phone for driving your car, listening to music, communicating with people across different apps, business, taking a photo, recording things, like all of that is all in one device. It's the centralizing force. But I guess what I would just say is like, I think that's the next thing we're going to see is maybe not an iPhone level product per se, but the realization that you can create things and access things that you previously couldn't. And so CRMs, bookkeeping, all this stuff, I feel like that's a huge component of this. I don't think we're that far out from the possibility of stopping the conversation of like, oh, you own a Pilates studio. Should you use Walla or MindBody or Mariana Tech? It's going to be, what are you going to like? You're going to use insert blank to build your own CRM based off of what you need. That's at least that'll be part of the conversation all of a sudden, which is a wild thought.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Bringing this back down to earth, KPIs and bookkeeping. What if you're like, okay, I need to understand this about my bookkeeping. Like, what are the top three things you should know about your business?
You should know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. What are your expense? I mean, I always feel like I had a really good idea of the average expenses for a month. Like it's very simple. But I
Mm,
know clients and businesses that are like, it's kind of this, or they don't have any clue, or they don't have enough data to go look back at. So you have to know how much you're spending, because then that will inform how much you need to make. Or,
right.
that's a big one. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So incoming money, outgoing, like basic expenses, and then KPIs for the business. Same question. Like to start, if you're starting with KPIs that aren't those finance ones,
Mhm.
what do you need to know about your business? What are like the top three?
How many new people are coming to your business every month, I'd say is a big one.
Mm,
How many of
yeah.
them are starting your intro? I think is the next thing. Because most people are tracking how much money is coming in. I feel
Yeah.
like with as a normal thing. That's the only thing that they tend to look at is gross sales. So if we're going to layer deeper than that and say how many new people are coming in, what are they buying when they start with you? And hopefully you're a membership based business somehow. So you're looking at the membership number. Those would
Hmm.
be probably my top ones to look at.
Yeah. I was just thinking as you were saying it, I would word it the same way. It's like you have people, how many people actually come into your business? How many convert to basically they make it through whatever steps in your sales process so that they are actually a patron of your business now for your
Mhm.
service? Because that tells you a lot. And until that's working, everything else is
Mhm.
fucked.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then total, I was gonna say total people in your business, but it's like monthly active, so it's probably members would be the best metric. I'd maybe add, and often we don't start here with clients, but I would maybe add lifetime value. Feel like that number or average revenue per client per annum, would be the other way to do that. 'Cause otherwise, you don't know what's happening, like just in your basic systems of stuff. The reason I ask these questions to tie us all together is like if you have your finger on that pulse and then AI comes into the mix now, and it reframes time and value. If now it's like, well, I can't get these numbers out of my whatever. Is that true? Like, oh, I would have to export six things and then, go through it all. No, you don't. Or like, oh, I don't know. I guess I have to come up with like a sequence of four emails to send people or whatever. Cool. So like that's like an hour of work now, not a week.
Less than that. Probably.
Right, right. Like there's no reason if that's not happen. But why does this all matter? Well, that leads to then you have more available personal freedom. You're more efficient cost wise. There's higher expectations for all your people. But like what's valuable that's left over? And I think it frees you up to get back to the stuff that you got into your business for in the first place, which is the people who work in your business, the people who are patroning your business, the product itself, that quality of things. If you're a service-based business, it's the realization that like we've been saying this for fucking years. Like I can go on YouTube and take a yoga class. I don't need to
You can
come
go
to you.
to AI and get therapy, apparently.
You can go to AI and get therapy. Right. But it's true, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like I don't need you at the basic level at all. And if you have enough ego to think your product is special and you have the best people and the best whatever else, like you gotta look in the mirror, dude. It took me years in business to get it. Like, no, you don't. It's so unlikely. So make your product better. Actually get better at interacting with people. Actually spend your time. Like, I don't know. It frees up the ability to work on those things, which are the things that count. I guess we would have called them soft skills before,
Mm.
which honestly is kind of a dumb name. Like, they're not soft skills, they are the skill.
Yeah, they need a rebrand, I'd say. So,
Yeah. Awesome skills, human skills. The human skills is the one.
yeah, human. Yeah.
I'll leave us off on this. This all leads us to this concept. What's a soft skill for management? Have you ever heard of the idea of the drama triangle? I love this shit.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Okay, so the drama triangle, if you were to draw a triangle, literally, you have the hero, the villain, and the victim. The drama triangle states the rule that if one exists, the other two must exist. You can't have a hero without a villain. You can't have a villain without a victim. You can't have a victim without a hero, though, either. And you within yourself are all three. If you're one, you're all three of them. But I was thinking about this the other day in terms of like, I'm trying to find my note on it. In terms of managing your team and like, what skills differentiate a business over time. It's escaping this and realizing you're not supposed to be the hero. You don't have to be the villain. You shouldn't need to be the victim at all. So like the second you have tension within your team or yourself around your business as the prompting piece, and you're like, oh, well, I'm the hero, I'm doing this and saving them, or that person did this to me, or whatever else, or how come this person's mean that way? Like you're stuck in this drama triangle, and it doesn't matter right or wrong. It's like if you're in any one of those roles, you're fucked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. And I keep thinking like maybe the ascension out of that triangle is the guide that we talk about a lot. And you know,
Hmm.
you don't have to live in that triangle. You become more like hey, I've seen all this. I understand it. I can see this drama for what it is. Let's guide these people out of it or something like that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, if you're participating in one role, then you're participating in all of them. That's the word I was missing is participation.
Yes. Yeah.
Each role, as soon as you participate in one, you participate in all of them.
Mhm.
So, how do you get out of that? You need to not participate,
Yeah.
which is the fucking hard part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
um, the oh shit, where did I just go here? I had another good way of putting it together. Right. The hero blames the victim for being in a state where they need to be saved, and they blame the villain for being bad and being against their code of ethics. The victim blames the hero for not saving them yet, and
Ooh.
blames the villain for making them a victim. And the villain blames the hero for being self-righteous and for framing them as the villain, for making them feel uncomfortable with what they're doing. And they blame the victim for being victimized or playing the victim and making them be a bad guy.
Oof.
If you're in one of these positions, you're actually in all three.
Yeah. Well, it makes total sense. Like we're always looking for someone to blame for the situation we're in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The fascinating one that I relate to quite a bit is the idea that, like, how quickly you can move from one to the other. You
Mm.
come in as the hero and then become the victim and then the villain. Or like you come in as the villain who then explains being the villain by becoming a victim. It's just it's so interesting. I guess the reason this was on the list of things for today is I just find this concept so fascinating because it's so relatable. I think it's very human. But like this is the skill. Like if you can run your business and your people and yourself from a place where this type of mindset and emotional intelligence exists, where you're like, I just don't want to play this game. I refuse to. I'm going to not participate in any of these roles. I think you become super powered. Your business explodes because
Yeah,
things just get real clean real fast.
I love it. Definitely. Yeah, I mean it's true. We don't
Yeah.
want to be stuck in that triangle. So yeah, get out
Yeah,
of
no judgment. Fucking, I'm all
it.
day. Just human nature. But
Yeah.
yeah, what is there to work on? This is the shit to work on now.
Yeah.
The rest of it, AI will solve it. No, not actually. Don't do that. Don't take my do not quote me. Do not quote me for that one. That's not 100% true. All right.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Weekly Roundup. Tune in every Friday and make sure you subscribe to the show on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening from. See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.